Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Max, it was a great weekend of sports, so I'm doing pretty well.
It was a fantastic weekend, Caden. Lots of football. Great UFC card. Let's jump right into it. UFC 311 with, let's preference this, and a breakdown of the card the day before.
So yeah, we obviously recorded the pod Thursday night. It came out to you guys Friday morning, and then about a couple hours after our podcast came out, news broke. Arman Sarukian ended up pulling out of the main card due to back problems. Who knows if he actually had back problems, or there's reports that maybe he just missed weight.
Probably just was going to miss weight.
So because of that, Beneil Dariush got pulled off the main card. Renato Moicano got moved to the main event against Islam. And then Jolton Almeida and Sergey Spivak ended up getting moved into the main card.
So let's hop out. First fight of the night, Caden. Did not go the way we thought it would.
No, yeah. The Kevin Holland and Renier de Ritter. We both were on Kevin Holland here. We thought his experience and everything that was going to be able to prevail and pull through. He gets submitted round one.
Yeah, the former one champion, Caden, really did not care for Kevin Holland's antics at all. And this is one thing we forgot to preference before, is that at middleweight, Kevin Holland gets wrestled, and he gets dominated. Yeah. That's the problem with this weight class is, yes, Kevin Holland can stand and bang with anyone. Mm-hmm. He's just too small. And when he got thrown down and, submitted, it was just a battle of who's the better, more physical guy in that aspect. And it was
de Ritter, yeah. Kevin Holland, like you said, can strike with anyone, but he's kind of just a smaller guy in this weight class. So when you're able to take him down, it just doesn't bode well for him.
For sure.
Our next fight, though, was the one that got moved up to the main card between Jolton Almeida and Sergey Spivak, where Almeida had the TKO at the end of the first round.
Okay, and this was a very exciting fight because although Almeida is crotch sniffer typically, they were on their feet for a little bit. Spivak actually did get a couple big shots in. He cracked Almeida. It looked like he may have been able to get the finish. He took Almeida down, but Almeida reverses it, gets into a better position, and Spivak just had an uphill battle from there.
Yeah, it seems like after Spivak took him down, they got back up, and that's when Almeida caught him, stumbled him, and then they went back down the ground and just ground and pound until the ref had to come in and stop the fight because he couldn't take any more damage.
Oh, yeah, Ken. And that's the thing about these fights, 4 finishes in this main card. It was going pretty quick, very action-packed, but can't really complain.
Yeah, the fights were going quick. But Uncle Dan had to fill in that pay-per-view time with a bunch of just nonsense in between the fights.
For sure.
Next fight, though, these next two were just straight bangers from start to finish. Yuri Prochazka and Jamal Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Round 3 TKO for our boy Yuri.
Caden, this fight came out exactly how we both thought it would be. A slugfest of 2 of the premier light heavyweights in the UFC, banging it out. Ultimately, Yuri just was a crisper, better fighter. He was a step ahead of Jamal. And even when Jamal cracked Yuri, he smiled at him with his forehead and returned fire.
I mean, obviously, when you see any Yuri Prochazka fight, you're going to see a lot of action. He's got this very unique fighting style. And just the constant pressure ended up being too much for Sweet Dreams Hill.
Yes, it did.
And now, though, what do you think is next for Yuri?
As much as I would like him to be able to get another title shot, I still think we need to see him against someone who's not coming off a loss. I think he needs one more fight just because you can't really just throw him back against Alex again. Alex can have gone Yuri, Ankalaev, back to Yuri.
Yuri, Jamal, Yuri, Ankalaev.
But the problem is there's just no one in that
to their level.
Yeah, there's no one else in the division that really matches up with those two. So, ultimately, I'm not sure. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Because, during this card is announced, we're going to see Pereira and Ankalaev in March. Assuming, as I think we both would think, Pereira gets through him. Depending on, I guess, maybe how brutal that is. Maybe you see like a Yuri Ankalaev, or maybe he just does go back up for the trilogy. We'll just have to wait and see.
We're just going to have to wait and see, kid.
Our co-main event, though, Max.
Fight of
the night. Merab Dvalishvili gets the unanimous decision over Umar Nurmagomedov after gassing a dog.
Who called it on the Untouchaballs podcast, Caden? We did.
Yes, we did.
Merab the Machine did exactly that, Caden. As we talked about, early rounds, Umar looked great. He was able to strike. He defended all the Merab takedowns.
He was probably up 2-0 after the first round.
Definitely, could have been up 2-0. One judge did have it 1-1, which I thought, that second round could have been 50-50.
Well, he had the first round, Merab.
The first round, sorry, could have been 50-50. Obviously, second one went to Umar, but then Umar gasses out with a broken hand. Let's credit that. But Merab game plan fulfilled. Everything we said from the preview pod came to fruition, and he dominant fashion clears out the undefeated Umar Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, you never see these Russian wrestlers gas out.
Never.
You saw Umar it was in the fourth round, not even the fifth round. In the fourth round, once these championship rounds started, he's huffing and puffing and dropping his hands. He's just looking tired. And Merab still run at him, just trying takedown after takedown. Umar stuffed 23 takedowns in this fight and still lost the fight.
That just goes to show you how ridiculous the pace that Merab says is. It's Merab is already on pace to be definitely one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. Obviously a few other people up there in that conversation, but his resume speaks for itself, and the domination is unprecedented.
Oh, it's insane, and he probably has the best gas tank in the UFC.
Ever. Yeah. Maybe ever in the history of the UFC, which is disgusting to say when you're talking about a sport full of animals with great cardio.
Yeah, he threw like 30 takedowns in that fight. Easily.
No problem for Merab.
Our main event here now, the new main event, Islam Makhachev and Money Moicano. Could have called it, pretty easy to see. It was a first round submission for Islam.
Not much more to expect, Caden. Obviously, this is the number 10th ranked fighter, Money Moicano, who has never even fought a fighter of the caliber of Islam Makhachev. And the Arman fight was going to be that step up for, not the Arman fight. Again, sorry, I'm messing this all up. The Beneil fight was going to be a step up for Moicano in competition. It was going to be that, potentially propelling him up to this title shot. I don't think he was ready. Walking out, you could see it on his face. He looked like he was seeing ghosts. Obviously, Moicano's game, he's going to step in, but that's just a monster.
Moicano landed that one punch, though.
Oh, the one that hit the armpit?
At the time, we're like, oh, and then actually hit his armpit and slipped, And then Islam takes him down, gets the quick tap.
Via Darce, my favorite joke.
Hey, all in all, though, it was a great first pay-per-view to start this year.
Correct.
Let's get to our playoffs here now, though. Where we lost our cover by a hook in the Chiefs game, 23-14.
No covers this weekend. Yeah, Caden, I didn't get to really watch this game until the very end. And ultimately what I saw was C.J. Stroud and the Texans failed to be able to get anything going when it mattered. They had the ball. They had chances to drive and just stalled out ultimately. And when you stall out against Mahomes and the Chiefs, and Travis Kelce, who had another great playoff game, it's going to be hard to beat, especially considering the refs are always in Casey's corner.
Yeah, there was especially that one where Mahomes is just running around, and the latest slide in the world, and they get the 15. Something needs to change with that. You heard the announcers of the game saying that needs to change with the rules. But then, the Texans had some chances later in this game. The Chiefs went up 20-12. Texans are driving, turn it over on downs. Then the Chiefs, though, credit to defense. Make them go 3 and out and punt. Texans are driving. They're getting close to the end zone. Turn it over on downs. They end up kicking a field goal to go up 11, and then our cover looks dead, and then just basically to end it, Chiefs are punting. They just run out the back of the end zone with the punter. So if you would have bet this game, though, the line jumped up to 9.5 about 30 minutes before kickoff. If you got a late bet in on Texans plus 9.5, you're heartbroken not heartbroken. If you have Chiefs minus 9.5, you're heartbroken. If you took the Texans, you're like, that is the greatest safety of my life. Just that was more, since we did this at 8.5, it didn't really affect us as much. But for those people who are betting it at 9.5, that safety either really hurt or really helped.
Most definitely.
Our last game on Saturday, though, which the biggest surprise of the weekend.
Biggest upset.
45-31. Commanders over the Lions.
Jaden Daniels, Caden, comes in unfazed to Detroit. Did not care. Jared Goff, who, this is a phenomenal game by the Commanders, and credit that Commanders defense because they got after Jared Goff. They made him uncomfortable. They lit him up, and they out-physicaled one of the most physical teams in football, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, speaking of your boy, Jaden Daniels, 299 and 2 in the air. another 51 on the ground. Even Brian Robinson had 77 and then 2 on the ground. De'Ami Brown was the leading receiver in this game. 6 catches for 98 yards. Jaden was just finding him deep all throughout this game.
And Terry McLaurin had a good game as well.
And Terry McLaurin, obviously. And on the Lions side, Goff, not good. He had 313 passing yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions and the fumble.
And he got pancaked on one of those.
Yep.
That was a pick 6.
Yep. And then Jameson Williams. Yes, this was weird. So, they run that beautiful play with Teddy Bridgewater in at quarterback at the end of the first half.
Right.
The little reverse end around that scored the big old touchdown. They're like, okay, now we're going to try it where instead of obviously running it, Jameson Williams is going to throw it. And he threw it right to the defense. The only good player for the Lions offense, I mean, they were able to put up some. Amon-Ra had a good game, obviously. But like we said, Jahmyr Gibbs had a great game against this bad run defense. I'm scared to see what Saquon's going to do against them next week. Jahmyr, 105 rushing yards, 2 tutties, another 70 on the ground. He put up 175 total yards. The Lions put up 31 points, like we said.
And still lost.
Their defense was too hampered, and you can't have 5 turnovers when your defense is just completely just injured everywhere.
Turnovers are a recipe for losing football, Caden. Much about the team we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah, now, though, Eagles and Rams, where the game ended up pushing 28 because Jake Elliott didn't know how to make extra points. 28-22, Eagles victory.
Caden, this game was really good, and then all of a sudden Saquon Barkley happened, and he starts going ballistic like he did the first time against the Rams. And all of a sudden you're looking at a clear 2-touchdown lead from the Eagles. There's 4 minutes left in the game, and you think this is pretty much wrapped up and over. All of a sudden, the Rams come down. They find themselves in the blizzard. They get a touchdown, and because of the missed extra point by Jake Elliott, they're only down 6 now.
Yep.
Rams get the ball back, and Matthew Stafford forgets how to play football.
They're driving right down the field, looking good. They're into the red zone. Stafford gets sacked, which killed the drive.
Yes, it did.
And then it's 4th down. He had Puka on that little out route. But in the snow, just the ball got away from him. And
sends it out of bounds.
They lose the game. But like you said, Saquon going crazy. We talked about earlier this year when he had, 233 rushing yards against the Rams in LA. And now this time, home against Rams, 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns.
That is Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And that is should be top 3 finisher in MVP voting.
Yeah.
And Saquon Barkley, one of the best running back seasons since Derrick Henry's 2,000-yard year, obviously. But an impressive victory nonetheless for the Eagles.
Yeah, and I know I just mentioned it, but we'll talk about it more on Thursday. What is his rushing prop going to be against the Commanders, who have one of the worst run Ds in the league?
His over-under might be at 150.
It'll be insane to look at. And you won't want to take the under.
No.
Because he could go off for another 200 piece.
He could have 300.
And Jalen Hurts will have another 115 passing yards and win the game.
We'll see.
Now our last game, which Mark Andrews, buddy.
Full weekend for us.
27-25 Bills victory, where Mark Andrews dropped the tying 2-point conversion with about a minute left.
Again, when you turn the ball over in the playoffs, you're going to lose.
Yep.
Saw the 5 turnovers the Lions had. Ravens, 3 turnovers. Lamar had an atrocious pick early. Didn't result in any points, but the fact that you're losing a possession there, it matters.
Yep.
Lamar also had a poor fumble.
He just dropped it.
Right? We're going to give Lamar his punishment because he did contribute to those turnovers. Yep. But in the clutchest moments, did Lamar Jackson ever turn it on in that 4th quarter in the end of the game, Caden? Running around, throwing dots. And ultimately, it came down to that 2-point conversion play to tie it up. Not saying win the game because there's still a minute, a timeout for the Bills.
They could have possibly gone down and won the game still.
True.
But
Mark Andrews, you fumble in the previous drive when the Ravens are driving. On the drive, mind you, where the Ravens have the potential to go up. It is 21-19 at this point in the game. This is a game-altering drive that you just fumble.
Oh, 24-19.
24-19, sorry.
Yeah.
And you just fumble it away.
Yeah, you're driving. Lamar makes a great throw to Mark Andrews. Yeah, and he gets knocked out trying to extend the play. Get him down, and now it's an 8-point game. So, okay, need the touchdown, need the 2-point. And what does Lamar do? He drives them right down this field and scores the touchdown. They run the 2-point. Lamar rolls out right. Mark Andrews is nice and open.
Perfect play call.
Just a nice little, he's like, okay, I'm at the 2. I'm going to just toss it to
2-yard toss.
Mark Andrews starts fumbling it, falls down, drops the ball, cost the Ravens a chance.
I just don't understand how you fall down, bobble it 12 times, and then it ends up flying off your knee.
Yeah.
Horrible way to end the Ravens season. And this is just their luck in the playoffs. The Ravens come out, they have, a machine gun, an RPG, and a tank. And then, the tank turns around and they just shoot their own base, and that's how they lose in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they in this Lamar era, they just haven't found a way to succeed in the playoffs at all.
And it's a different reason every time, Caden. It's not like one thing you can pinpoint. Before, it was rookie Lamar Jackson, 2 years in, doesn't know how to pass.
Yeah.
You shut down that game. Then you have MVP Lamar, but he's got to throw it 30 times because you have no run game, and you get shut down. Now you have Derrick Henry.
Or no, not that you had no run game. It's because they refused to run the ball. They ran the ball only 5 times last year.
Correct. Because no run game. And, you're talking about this year where Derrick Henry doesn't have an amazing game, but he plays good. Yeah. Good enough where you guys should.
And he turned it on late like he always does.
He turned it on when it mattered. And you have everything you want just to cough the ball away. It's super frustrating.
It is. And it's just... how are they finally going to be able to get over this playoff hump that they've been building themselves in this Lamar era? Now, though, we get to see Allen and Mahomes for the 4th time in 5 years in the playoffs.
It's going to be exciting. We're going to talk about it Thursday.
National championship time.
I was going to say, talking about teams who finally got over the hump. The Ohio State Buckeyes. Ryan Day, get it done, and blew the cover.
And the defense blows the cover with 30 seconds left because they leave Jeremiah Smith wide open on 3rd and 10. That could have gotten the ball back with a chance to tie the game.
Yeah, Caden. Notre Dame comes out, right, goes on this 10-minute,
18-play, 9-minute, and 45-second drive.
Takes the absolute whole quarter up, right? And you're thinking, all right, this game's going to be competitive. Then the Ohio State Buckeyes proceed to score on their next 5 straight drives. 31 unanswered points on the Irish head, and that pretty much put them to bed.
Yeah, but then, they score that next touchdown to Greyhouse. Okay, 31-15 because they get the 2-point.
Yes.
Something's going on here. Then it's 4th and goal from the 7, and they try a field goal. You're down 16 points, and you try a field goal that he pulls off the left left post. But then, you get the ball back. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Score the touchdown. Once again, get the 2-point. You're down 8. We're covering.
We got the cover. Locked up and loaded. All you need to do is either get the ball back or just don't let Ohio State score.
Yeah, there's about 4 minutes left. You have all 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. Okay. They get a first down. That's fine. You still have all your timeouts. You get to 3rd and 10 when you had to have known they were passing the ball. Because the Ohio State's trying to end the game here. So, okay, they let Jeremiah Smith get one-on-one and just absolutely torch this corner for a 50-yard gain to set him up in field goal range to end up going up 11 with 25 seconds left.
And mind you, a couple drives before, Will Howard overthrew the wide-open touchdown pass to his other receiver. And that was the reason why Ohio State had to go to that 31 instead of going up 35.
Yeah.
Right? But this time, he learned from his mistake, dropped a dime, and that was all she wrote in the national championship game, Caden.
Yeah, no, Will Howard played amazing. Quinshon Judkins had 3 touchdowns. He was awesome.
Yeah.
Just, after that opening drive, it took until midway through the 3rd quarter for the Notre Dame offense to have another first down.
Absolutely diabolical, game planning by Notre Dame. I don't know how this team is so hot and cold, Caden. They go from the first quarter and the fourth quarter where, they're a national championship contending team.
Yeah.
But then you have the gap where you give up 31 unanswered, and you just are trying to dig yourselves out of a hole. They had the horrible roughing the passer, just a couple undisciplined plays, and you're back to another underperforming Notre Dame season with not another national championship.
One thing though, Will Howard, he rose his draft stock tonight.
He did.
For sure.
And credit to Will Howard, because we've been, I wouldn't say we've been hard on the guy, but we haven't.
I feel like I've been talking up Will Howard a good bit.
Yeah, we have been. We've been fair with him. That's what I'm saying. We've been fair. But I'm glad you did bring that up, because we will give him his flowers as he's deserved as the national championship winning quarterback.
Yeah, and the way he played, he completed his first 13 passes up with over 300 passing yards. He ran the ball well, didn't turn the ball over.
Correct.
He did everything you want to see out of your quarterback, and now more teams are going to be looking at him.
He's got the clutch gene.
He's got that gene, and now it's going to be looking like he'll get drafted a little higher than what people were thinking, especially after that Michigan game.
Definitely, Caden, all things to be considered. It was another exciting college football season. We thank you guys for tuning in and listening to all these weekly episodes and recaps as we've talked about all season long. And Caden, who knows? Maybe next year we're talking about the Colorado Buffaloes. But that is all we have time for this week. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.